6 teams, 30 players come into playoffs, and you only remember 5. Like Jensen, when he played Echo in that final series and he messed up that Echo ulti, that is what people remember.
Right now, people are just remembering me as a player that haven't really achieved anything. If I can start winning, people will really start thinking of me as a winner instead of just making a misplay in the finals.
I always see, TSM or CLG, they have those banners. I guess I always thought that those were just kind of there and like not for me to get. But this team has definitely the potential to get that banner.
And this looks like a team that deserves to lock in their playoff spot.
I think that we've won so many times before help us in a way that I think people fear us. They're thinking, oh no, playoffs, TSM is back, what can we do?
TSM claimed the 3rd seed in playoffs.
And I know that they're shaking in their boots, and that gives me a rush. It gives me even more confidence than I would have had otherwise.
100 Thieves, your first place 2018 spring team.
Ending first place and winning playoffs sounds good to me.
No matter what, I just want to be 2018 champions, Echo Fox.
I think a banner just represents all the hard work that you did. You can't take it away. It's just a piece of history, and it's a testament to the team's ability to compete at the highest level. And I hope the fans, they look at those banners and they think, wow, what an insane ride that was.
Made to be legend.
Welcome back to the NALCS Countdown, a very serious show where things are about to get more serious. 13 minutes away from our first playoff series between Team Liquid and Cloud9. But before that, we have the results of the NALCS All-Pro vote. So here's a quick reminder of what goes into that. There are 43 ballots cast from casters, players, coaches, and media. Points are awarded by how you rank the top 3 in each role. Obviously, the first team vote gets 3 points, second team 2, and third team 1. Those are tallied up and then distributed to the players and decided based on that. So here you go. The ballots are also available on lolesports.com if you'd like to check those out. But here is your first NALCS All-Pro team.
And Huni with 120 points leads the entire league. He was the most voted on top laner, and it's not really much of a surprise. He's absolutely dominated the first half of the split and is the major reason why Echo Fox went from this team that people were discrediting in the preseason to now holding one of the playoff buys.
And even though they did fall apart a little bit down the stretch, the blame doesn't really fall on Huni. He was also held up a lot by Dardoch earlier on in the season. When we're talking about OP5s, we gave him the OP5 jungler 5 weeks. Right. The majority of the time, we thought he was the best jungler on the weekend. He was also just extremely strong this split.
Dardoch and Huni leading the charge for Echo Fox. Next up, Bjergsen in that mid lane made a late season surge to get, or rather snag, that title.
Yeah, even at the end of week 6, there's no way I would have expected to see Bjergsen here, but his last 8 or 10 games were so incredibly good that when you look back at his stats at the end of the year, he had the best stats for a lot of mid laners. So after doing that, I had him as first team in my ballot as well. I'm not too surprised to see him coming out at number 1.
Absolutely. Cody Sun and Afro Moose sharing the bot lane of the first team. Cody Sun, after not getting a single OP5,
gotta be happy with this, right?
Gotta be happy with this, right? Gotta be happy with this.
Yeah, big old hug from Prawley.
Prawley's happy with this.
Things are great for Cody, but it is worth pointing out that the other team that gets the first round bye, 100 Thieves, gets their whole bot side of the map stuck into the first team, and that's kind of where they play. Both, of these teams with their buys are kind of represented by their 2 main playstyles here, with Cody and Afro being the huge playmakers that kind of get 100 Thieves their wins.
Any more thoughts on Afromu as a playmaker and leader for this squad?
I mean, he had such a good year. I think Smoothie was his main competition for first team support. Smoothie had a tremendous year as well. He actually shows up on the second NALCS Pro team. We're going to be seeing him today as well. Was trying to make that MVP push for most of the year as well. And here's the second team.
Right, you talk about the guys they had to beat to snag first team, and here is your second NALCS All-Pro team. We got Hans, Remedios, Jensen, Sven, and Smoothie.
And it was really close between AD carries. I think a lot of people had Sven up there as well. He was a guy who made another late season push, kind of like Bjergsen as well. His stats actually were very similar, where both of them had only died 3 times, had 20+ kills, 20+ assists. Monster performances out of a lot of members of TSM to turn their split around.
Yeah, also want to call out Medios here for having such a strong split after not really playing hardcore professional for the last year or so, but being able to make a big splash on 100 Thieves this split.
Very much so. Let's move right along to our third NALCS All-Pro team. We've got Someday, Svenskeren, Febivin, Sneaky, and Hakuho.
And what's really cool is you're going to see all these guys in the next couple weeks. The entire first 3 teams are made up of players playing in playoffs. There's, you know, not really anyone that's
no
left
surprise there.
Yeah, so it's really cool to see that. Febby and Hakuho being the Clutch Gaming members. Hakuho, I feel like, was the clear-cut third support, but there were some other people who it was less more contentious, excuse me, for that kind of fourth team and who was left out.
Right. Well, so if you want to talk about fourth team, although it's not an official award, we decided to go ahead and dive into it, and we found a very interesting thing.
No Liquid players were in the first 3 teams. They were all on the fourth team.
All on the fourth team.
All of them. It's crazy. It's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's fake as well.
That's why.
But they did have a
fake.
few people show up. Here's the actual fourth team.
This is the actual
It's just
fourth
given
team.
out as award. Xmithie and Doublelift. You can see Doublelift with 45 points. Extremely close to being able to make it into those teams. Sven and Sneaky were second and third with 62 and 61 points respectively.
Yeah, Phoenix as well didn't have that many points, but I think he was kind of the clear fourth. I would say that he was kind of snubbed a little bit in terms of voting just because he got subbed out in week 9 of the season, but week 1 through 6, 1 through 7, he was really dominant and held a lot of the best laning stats for the entirety of the season, even now.
Yeah, some recency bias as well as not being able to play in that last week of the season may have hurt him there. Noticeably missing, though, I know you guys have some thoughts on a top laner who maybe also should have been included or been given more of a mention.
Yeah, I think it's one thing to get snubbed in the top lane. There's a lot of different playstyles that we saw, but to not even be on the fourth team is really surprising for Flame, because I think this guy had a monstrous split on a team that was struggling all around him. They had members getting swapped in and out, dealing with visa issues. They couldn't quite find a defined playstyle, and he still put up really great numbers in a season where his team did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, Mark, I know you had him second on your ballot for top lane. I had him third, and throughout the year, I thought he was consistently performing at that high level. So, call out to Flame, didn't quite
honorable
make it.
mention.
That happens every year. There's a lot of really good players, and I'm not going to say that he deserves it over Someday and Hanser and Huni, who definitely deserve their votes.
Yeah, very much so. That's the way the chips fell. Now, before we move on to the first playoff match, it's time to say goodbye to a team that, despite their best efforts, fell short in RIP CLG.
Every road is long that we travel on, and we don't know where they might lead, but we keep the faith and we live each day till we finally find our way. When we've crossed every highway, turned every stone, we will still just be travelers dreaming of home.
Oof, it's tough for these guys. Biofrost is now getting memed by Tyler One on Challenger games and streams where everyone goes once their split ends.
I mean, it stings, right? This is a team that did have a path to the playoffs. It was a narrow path.
Absolutely, and they missed playoffs for the first time in their org's history, but they tried to make that miracle run where they had to go 6-0 to finish the season. And they were on track to do so until their playoff hopes were actually ended because the other teams got too many wins.
Right.
And then I think they kind of lost momentum in that week 9, but either way, it did feel like they actually did start finding their way towards the end of the split. And I believe Nick Allen's already said they're going to try with the same roster next split because they like what they saw towards the end.
There was a lot of good things that started working for them just a little too late in the split. Biofrost as a shot caller, 6A is the main threat on their team. He actually led the league in AD carry DPM, so that's pretty impressive for a guy who a lot of people were saying was the worst in the league at one point.
And they still got a couple months between this season and the next for them to, kind of find their form and continue the push up the standings. Now, separately, people complain about the NALCS being scripted, so we decided to do an investigative report. We got our hands on the script, and here is what we've gathered. Okay, now the producers don't know this, so we're going to try and fire through some of these, but we already did some looking. And guys, the first thing I noticed here on page 63, Betrayal rocks Team Liquid when Xmithie's dad reveals he's actually been a Meteos fan all along. I can't believe it. I didn't know that was coming.
I mean, everyone loves Smithie's dad. I guess Smithie's dad also likes Meteos the most out of even his own son.
I feel like it was obvious. How did we not catch these breadcrumbs? I mean, a heart thrown out to Xmithie. He's wearing 100 Thieves gear. I mean, we got to be more eagle-eyed.
The script writers are really good. I mean, they have this nice foreshadowing on a lot of these.
Yeah, looking ahead a week as well, I saw a pretty crazy one. Dardoch actually gets benched because of an over-enthusiastic high five from Rick Fox, which shatters Dardoch's hand.
You know, but that doesn't surprise me.
Look at that forearm.
Have you seen
So you
that
can
guy's
kinda-
enthusiasm? He doesn't hold back. He doesn't hold back.
Gotta learn to.
And this is here. This is a shot of Dardoch.
happy or
he's
sad
at the
in
arena,
that
but
top
more
right
for
picture?
moral support than anything, as with their broken right hand, he's not going to be able to control the mouse. So that's a tough loss for
gonna try
Echo
and fly.
Fox.
I got a pretty interesting one here, too.
Oh, yeah?
Actually,
Hit
it's
me.
that Cody Sun will get 3 pentakills, steal Baron, and help secure 100 Thieves spot in the finals. But somebody's going to get Player of the Series.
Yeah, Cody Sun never gets credit. I'm not even that surprised
I was
about
going to
that
say,
one.
you
Script
said it's a,
writers
you said it's a good one. I feel like that's just obvious.
Well, I mean, that's
You know,
why I like it, because sometimes you want a storyline to follow through to the end. You want to see the logical conclusion of the storyline.
I get you.
Yeah,
I get
I
you.
like that.
Yeah. It's one of those where you're like, there's got to be a twist here. There's got to be a
And
twist.
then
The
they
twist
just-
is there's no twist,
they just
Mark.
stick straight
Everything
through.
goes the way you plan. Finally, Sneaky, he successfully petitions to change the uniform code, forcing all teams to play in League cosplay. This is a recent development.
Yeah, only a matter of time, really, after Elementalist Lux for Sneaky. Like, he's also the leader of the team. A lot of people look up to him. He's got a famous stream, so it makes sense.
I mean, it's just so jarring, such a sudden twist. I mean, where was like the kind of hints with like the makeup that people start having a little bit more, maybe some wings, something on their, some extra little details, some
I do
lipstick
like
on the
the
players.
Star Guardian theme. At least they're theming.
Yeah, I like where it
Team
ends up.
uniform.
Yeah,
I
they're
like where it ends
theming
up.
and memeing as a team, and that's all you could ask for. Now, here's a good one, guys. If you jump to the final, I'm going to save us some time. So if you turn to the very last page of the script, it's page 419, earning 90 championship points after winning 3-2 fashion in Miami. This is the team that's going to be crowned the champions of North America, poised to represent the region at MSI. Here's. So, win conditions for this first matchup of the day. We got Team Liquid, Cloud9. Jat, I believe you're going first this time around, Team Liquid.
Right, so this is the way Team Liquid has been winning all the way since week 8. You play around bottom lane, and then also, with blue side, they have it 3 out of 5 games if they choose. You power pick that lane. Swain first, Ryze second, Azir third, or Galio for Pobelter, and you're going to generally be okay against Jensen. I think that should be their strategy going in, because then they can win bottom lane. Impact with tank matchup against Licorice is going to be fine. I'm not even throwing that into the win conditions. That's how I think they get control.
Flip side, Cloud9.
I mean, kind of similar line of logic where you want to control the bot lane for C9 here if that's where TL is trying to play around. You don't necessarily need to beat it every single time, but make sure you keep the goal close. It feels like over the course of the season, TL has struggled to play in even or losing games, but there is the problem of impact, and if he starts getting more map pressure than Licorice and influences the entire game, you might need to attack him a little bit more. Start going for more crazy counter picks, Allowies, Dariuses, this kind of stuff to make sure that you win the top side of the map, and then sometimes that disables their bot lane from being able to pressure.
Well, if we're talking about the top lane, Licorice hopes to get the better of the player he replaced.
No one wants to be a downgrade on a team they join, for sure, so I definitely want to show that I'm at least even, and that I definitely don't want to lose the game from top lane. I don't want to let my team down, I want to be good and beat up on Impact, I guess, hopefully, and then win the game.
Looking for a repeat of the first game that he had against Impact, where he's beaten him up. We'll find out soon enough. I want to get some predictions from the two of you for our first best of 5 of the 2018 playoff season. Let's hear it.
So for me, I'm going to go with the TL, taking it in the 3-1 fashion.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be one of those series. It depends how closely it's going to mirror the regular season. And based off the slide C9 was on, it doesn't feel like something that's super easy to fix. So I expect TL to have the advantage here.
Yeah, and I think this is a very difficult series to call. I don't think there's a clear favorite here because I respect Reaper's ability to play in best of 5s. I respect the fact that Cloud9 was first or second for every week of the regular season until the very end because they have been playing very well. And I know Team Liquid's had a lot of struggles, but when I look at the recent performance, that's what I'm weighing a little bit harder for Team Liquid. Their ability to play around Doublelift in the bottom lane and power pick Pobelter's mid laner, as well as the top lane meta being in the spot that it is, I think gives them a slight edge over current Cloud9. But Cloud9 with Reaper has had that week to try and get back on track, and they're so experienced, I think it's going to be a really close series.
The reason I have it in one less game is because if Reaper does not get them back on track, then this might be over pretty quickly, where they just continue to steamroll through this bot lane, which is the concern that I have, where you're basically saying, if Reaper doesn't fix this team, TL wins. And even if he does fix it, you probably get a close series, a little bit like what Jet's talking about.
There you have it. Some thoughts from us, both of my analysts predicting Team Liquid, but we're definitely guaranteed to have an exciting series either way. We're going to toss it out to the 3 who are going to be bringing us the game for our first playoff series.
Thank you very much, Dash. Only the winners will be remembered. The first quarterfinal of the North American LCS ready to go in about 40 seconds here. Team Liquid 4th seed versus Cloud9, who did drop to 5th at the end of tiebreakers here. Best of 5 and all the chips on the table now.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting one. And as the guys on the desk have talked about, it should be a close series. And I think a lot of it is going to come down to, what can they change? What can they fix a 4C9 side in this week of preparation that they've had? Because they had such an incredibly strong first half of the season. And then when you look at their performance in the second half, it has really fallen off.
And Reaper, the coaching staff of Cloud9, including Reaper himself, have gotten a lot of credit over the years for innovation and bringing out more unique picks and strategies. And we'll see if they're able to pull them out here, because Team Liquid have been their focus for the last week.
And as we've seen, Liquid did choose blue side. Interestingly enough, both these teams are, I believe the stat was 7-3 on the blue side and 5-5 on red. So they've actually done better blue side throughout the split here, and you're seeing Liquid getting rid of some of the carry picks Licorice might want to play with that Gangplank ban. Meanwhile, Cloud9 trying to ban tanks, because Licorice has been best served playing fighter versus fighter matchups so far in the top lane, as opposed to tank one.
Yeah, not a big surprise here. Both teams focusing on that top lane. You did hear Licorice in that little video from the very beginning of the split. Impact is the one he wants to prove himself against. Kind of the replacement here.
And I mean, he was able to best him the first time they met. It was in that Vladimir versus Gangplank matchup. And a lot of the success that Licorice had in the earlier half of the season was either playing as Gangplank into tanks or counterpicking Gangplank as these fighters, as you said, bringing out things like the Kled, the Vladimir, and even the Camille into these matchups. And he's so good at that fighter versus fighter kind of high octane style. And that is why they're targeting all these tanks so heavily. They're trying to make Impact play on a less safe pick. And this tells me immediately that C9 still wants to play through top.
In order to do that, though, they've had to let Swain through. This champion, especially on 8.5, a lot of talk about how the buffs have really made him that power pick. And he actually can play mid lane. He's semi-tanky, with the ultimate getting so much life back. So a little bit of both there as far as the DPS and tankiness go.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, because, I mean, this is actually the most banned champion on 8.5 globally. So definitely a power pick, but it could be flex, right? Like, as you said, it could actually be going top.
Yeah, we've seen it played by Hunu, we've seen it played by a couple of other teams. We'll see if that is going to be Impact style here. Cloud9's choice, though. They'll grab the jungle, Sejuani, and look for the second one.
Yeah, Swain is really good, into these mid-range matchups. So Cloud9 actually are going to be the ones that get to pick into it. And I've seen a lot of people actually most recently talking about how it is a little bit risky to blind pick him, so maybe we'll have some extra range or some sort of strategy here from C9. So far, though, it looks to be very standard picks for them. Svenskeren on the Sejuani, he's put a lot of time on that matchup. Obviously, the Skarner is also just up, and that one also being one of the premier picks.
Another thing worth mentioning about Swain, especially looking at it from the mid lane point of view, is it does have pretty poor wave clear. The wave clear, especially in the earlier stages, you can really struggle to push them out, especially against some things such as the Orianna. So that is one of the ways that you can sometimes kind of mitigate the power that this champion brings, is simply avoiding conflict, pushing them in, trying to move to the other sides of the map, trying to play with your jungler and threaten attacks elsewhere away from that swing.
8 seconds to go until Liquid finish their first round, and it is looking like that flex Swain as the Ryze does get locked in. And now they get two of the most premier champions in the game with both Swain and Ryze.
This does mean, though, that this is going to be a Swain top, which gives Licorice a chance to actually counterpick this. And Kled, which is one of his powerful champions, is actually a really good matchup into Swain. Not sure if we're going to see that Gnar would be kind of more of a generic safe pick, and looks like that is what he goes for. I'm going to say I'm a little bit disappointed that you triple ban tanks and then you don't even really go for more of a counter pick on the Swain when you see that it is going to be going top and that's the opportunity.
We'll have to keep an eye, though, because Gnar is very good at controlling ranges, so we'll see just how well Licorice is able to keep Impact at that arm's length. Not very long range on the lightning from his Q. And we'll have to see what the second round of bans do come in. All these lanes have been matched up, so we're just looking at bottom lane for both sides here.
Cloud9 banning tank after tank after tank, this time around aimed at the bot lane as Braum is taken off the table. Of course, Cloud9 do have first dibs on picks here in this second phase, and as both teams looking for a bot lane, we'll see if they want the AD carry or the support first, but waiting for Liquid's ban now.
I'm going to be pretty interested to see if Jhin is going to be picked or banned away by C9. We know that Doublelift has really been liking this pick, and it's one of Sneaky's most famous picks. He certainly can play it, and it's very strong at 8.5.
Especially since Team Liquid are showing pretty AP heavy right now.
Yeah.
Jhin, who would build some lethality, want to be that AD threat, might be definitely a target. Janna going to be off the board as well, though, for that extra protection for Sneaky. Not going to let it through.
And 5 seconds to go for Cloud9's last ban of this first game of the series. What are they most afraid of? Actually, Morgana taken off the table, seen as a counter pick to Thresh, and interestingly enough, normally Braum as well. So curious if that does mean more playmaking out of Smoothie.
Yeah, this is actually pretty interesting to see this going around. And we have been seeing a decent amount of Morgana plus Caitlyn, and also Morgana plus Jhin was something that TL ran before. So maybe trying to target some of the support champions there, looking to perhaps pick away the Jhin. But obviously things like Tristana, which has been one of Doublelift's favorites, is still on the table. You do still have things like the Varus, the Ezreal, etc. So there's quite a few options remaining. And Smoothie, as he usually is, going to be having that Alistar banned away from him.
All right, so Cloud9's choice of what they want here in the second phase. Every single marksman bot laner is available for the choosing.
Except for Xayah, so
except for, sorry, yes, that was banned away at the very beginning by Liquid. That one's gone from the duo. So Tahm, Kench will be grabbed up here. They will leave Sneaky's pick for last. It's now Team Liquid's choice to put their duo lane together. And Sneaky can counterpick what he sees in the lane.
And I do think Tahm Kench is incredibly strong into the initial 3 we've seen. Works very well into Skarner. You can actually eat people out of the ultimate. You know, also the Ryze W. You have the Swain pull in. So Tahm Kench does offer quite a bit of safety.
I was kind of expecting a double range bottom lane there for Team Liquid, though, because they did clearly leave this Tahm Kench up, even though they have the Skarner. And Kane also said that this game, Doublelift and Olleh are going to pop off. If you're a double range matchup, try to start that early. You know, Nami and Caitlyn definitely can win that lane.
I mean, Nami and Caitlyn is one of the most abusive 2v2 lanes that there are in the whole game, in my opinion. Like, I think it's so strong, and Jhin probably going to be the answer here, but this should be very heavily favored toward TL's side in the early stages. One of the big kind of criticisms of range supports is how gankable they are. But if you do not get down there as Svenskeren, if you do not get down there and actually punish the Nami in the 2v2, expect Doublelift to open up a big CS lead.
Also remember, Pobelter on the rise versus Cloud9 yet again, and his roams were crucial in you know, affecting a lot of plays around that bottom lane. So they're going to have to keep their eyes open from not only counter ganks from Xmithie, but also Pobelter, see if they can pin him down in the mid lane.
We'll see if Cloud9 can survive the duo lane now. Of course, you expect the 2-on-2 to look so much stronger from the Liquid squad. I'm curious if they try to match the shove by going Doran's Ring on Sneaky to shove a whole bunch of waves with the grenade, or if he goes Doran's Shield to survive. And if those Pobelter roams from the Ryze do pay off at the end of the day, Liquid can have a ton of pressure here. So a Swain top lane versus Gnar up there, Impact versus Licorice. Going to be an exciting game to see as Game 1 is about to be underway.
Definitely is, and it really feels like C9 has put so much emphasis on their top lane, you know, with the triple bans, with this matchup that they have picked up there, and likewise for the other side, it's about the bottom side for TL. You got to see where the teams are going to be able to get their advantages.
There we go, Liquid and Cloud9 hitting the rift here on this one. Seeds 4 and 5. The audience bathed in blue light, just slightly different hues. Lots of team jerseys in there as well. Let's get ourselves into Game 1.
Already worth mentioning here, too, is the fact that Doublelift is going cleanse and Olleh is running heal. So this is not an exhaust Nami. This is the cleanse heal lane on the bottom side. And I think that makes quite a bit of sense for Doublelift when you're looking at things like the Sejuani ultimate as the way to kind of pick you off. And they're probably not feeling very threatened in that 2v2.
One thing I am surprised about, though, is it's a coin start for Olleh, because if you're fighting a 2-on-2, to actually battle back for position, you want Spell Thief for the damage. And if you're shoving in a turret, which you expect actually from this lane, you get more gold by going Spell Thieves as well. I'm a little surprised that that was the choice here for him, but going to go for that one. It's going to be more mana regen as a result, typically, and that might mean a big enough difference in this laning phase.
Yeah, some people can also really favor the move speed on that, and that's something that a lot more people are taking into consideration now.
Yeah, I mean, Skarner's definitely going to favor some move speed, so a little bit of team cohesion there. In the river, though, pretty much everybody's starting out with some defensive warding.
Yeah, we'll see as they go back and forth, and we fight for Skarner Spires as they spawn up. Licorice showing its dance moves. Actually just amazing on that Gnar, as 10 gold apiece to the trio of Liquid's top side. Xmithie can hope to make sure everything else looks okay for him. We have seen Cloud9 go for some very cheeky invades against Skarner specifically. That was, of course, the last regular season match where the Olaf got off to a 4-0 start. Maybe C9 tries to do that again, but so far Liquid have actually earned 60 more gold than their opponents due to getting both neutral spires. Means very little, but it is something. We are into the laning phase. It's pretty much undisturbed. Xmithie with an interesting start doing a Wolves first, trying to dodge a potential gank and also trying to disrupt the routing, as there are no deep wards that I can tell of to know where Xmithie did start. This will be a bit unknown.
It's going to be interesting to see how C9 is able to kind of track him and when they first get their information, what they're going to look to do that with. He may potentially want to go up to the top side and look for any sort of setup there. Because if you can catch Licorice in the mini Gnar and you actually can catch him with a never move, pull him in, he does become very vulnerable. So there is some pretty nice synergy for the setup with that gank.
Nice little bit of poke. I love the oohs and ahs from the crowd. Keep it up, everyone.
There was a big reaction to Impact getting all 3 minions.
Yeah.
With the first Q up on top side. And he is getting the first shove here onto Licorice. Licorice trying to keep his distance, as we said, doesn't want to get in range for those trades early on. See if how well he can see us under the turret, though.
All right, pops the bone plating from Licorice, but no follow-up damage. That's just going to go on cooldown for 40 seconds without any actual damage block. Ooh, he missed the boomerang, but he got it anyway. Licorice just made it look cool. But yeah, 12-9 in CS so far. Impact, perfect last hitting so far. A feud denied away from Licorice. 1 camp lead for Xmithie so far, which is kind of the way of Skarner. Has left his bottom jungle alive, though, and now he's going to find Sven here as they're battling for Scuttle Crab, and he gets that one as well, so
and
nice.
Sven should have noticed that he didn't have his red buff yet, so that does give him a little bit of information on the camps, perhaps that he has clear. But he can actually go back, and it looks like he's going to go to Golem, so doing just a full 6-camp clear likely here.
Yeah, Krugs there for Xmithie. But yeah, Skarner has such an advantage over Sejuani in the early clear anyway. Svenskeren just kind of looking for wards, trying to get off his first back here, and is going to pick up boots early on for the extra move seed. Let's see if he actually gets to use these. His own Krugs will be taken first, as that's the camp that he did leave up on the top side, though.
Well, here we are once again looking at the mid lane as the first teleport was used by the spellbook of Pobelter, and he's got the tier, which is kind of what he wanted, so he's going to start stacking up no problems. We'll see when Jensen gets the match. That a nice pull in, good damage, and Licorice forced to run away. Farm, though, is equal, and that damage isn't going to mean much against the Doran's shield.
Interesting to track as well, especially early on in the game. I like it when the laners will update the jungler on when your opponent left lane to ward on the side. It's pretty easy to track the low cooldown early game trinket wards. So, you know, Licorice should be feeding information to Svenskeren. Impact is just dropped over into the tri-bush. So he's like, all right, there you go. His second control ward has been used. You can just go around the river if you want to actually gank top. Swain is still definitely gankable, and he is a bit pushed up.
And I will say, if you're going to try to gank this lane, you want to look to do that pre-6. Swain post-6 becomes very, very difficult to take down, even sometimes in these 2v1 situations.
And right there on your screen, we just saw the communication with the team. Impact warded up in the tri-bush. Then he tells Pobelter, hey, the only way I can get ganked right now is if Sejuani either goes over the Baron Pit wall with her Q, which he's not going to do because she wants that for the actual gank, or ward the ramp as well. So Team Liquid cover both sides of that jungle. Exit from Cloud9 with wards, and that's why we're seeing this in action here.
And then at this point, you really have to look at the CS in the bot lane already. And this is kind of expected. Doublelift should be getting a pretty nice advantage, but already opening up, 10+ CS advantage on that bottom side. This is what is going to happen if this stays in an isolated 2v2. TL doesn't necessarily need to gank. They need to protect that from any incoming ganks from Svenskeren and just keep that pressure up nonstop.
And what you're seeing here is why I brought up Doran's Ring and Champ Select. Sneaky hasn't taken so much damage. He's still holding on to his potion. The shield doesn't seem quite maybe as mandatory, but if you got to spam, maybe they'd be under turret a bit less. But we're looking at now a potential gank on the top side. Predator popped. Xmithie wants this one, and they're going to find a little bit of damage. No, he jumps over the possible stun, but still some damage coming across. Flashes back at Xmithie, down at about 200 HP. Can't tower dive much more, and Impact low on mana, has to walk back out. So Licorice, pretty nicely played, gets away from the first blood gank.
Very nice there, and that communicates to the bottom side that Svenskeren should have priority on that half of the map, as Xmithie not only uses his Predator, but also is going to have to run for his life after that one.
Still, at the end of the day, Xmithie is farming very efficiently. He forces out the flash, so nice escape there from Licorice, but definitely, I still think a pretty positive play overall for TL, and it's something where they can look, once Xmithie hits 6, to actually try to repeat this and gank a flashless Gnar, which could be pretty easy to pull off.
See the repeat comes through as long as they play around the mini Gnar tiredness, as the wave is being pushed back and forth. No recalls just yet for the bottom lanes, but expected to come in soon as Sneaky is out of mana and has no more potions left. So that is going to be the Cloud9 recall first. Should give a bit of agency to the TL duo. Mid lane is pushing back and forth as well. We have yet to see Jensen's first back, but he should have enough money for a lost chapter and then some. Looks like he's going to make his backwards move as well.
And you can see Doublelift he's staying in lane. They want to push this out. Smoothie is actually hanging around to hopefully freeze this for Sneaky, who did go back for the earlier base. So he's going to try to wait a maximum amount of time, then show his face. He's trying to hold this wave, but looks like Doublelift will just go back to base, and Olleh will be the one to try to get this pushed in. Smoothie, actually, this is pretty nice from him. He's actually going to get all this extra CS, or at least a decent portion of it, over to Sneaky. And this means that the wave is going to be stuck more on their side as well. It will be a bit of a slow push, so this keeps Sneaky safer. This gets him 4 or 5 extra CS that he wouldn't have had. So nice little move there from Smoothie that does help to alleviate some of the difference in farm.
Interestingly, Sneaky is choosing to push the lane out instead of keep it freezing under his turret right there. So the lane minions will be at equilibrium, making the fighting a bit easier for him, but it means he will not deny quite as many from Doublelift in the long term.
And at least Cloud9, you know, for Sneaky's sake, he was able to match with the BF sword. There is going to still be the extra movement speed from Doublelift, who has taken cleanse here, but Licorice.
No flash.
Oh, no flash. He already used the leap. He's pulled right back in. He's got nowhere to go. Pulled in once again by Swain. And they're going to wait to deal the rest of the damage. First blood. Gonna go to impact, no problem. Well played to the Liquid duo.
Actually, it's got stolen. It was actually the red buff burn, or perhaps that true damage burn from the smite. He tried to give it over, but it did. Either way, it goes TL's way, and nicely done on the repeat gank.
Yes, they took out Tracker's Knife, so you get to take red smite now, and you know, can't blame me for stealing that kill. Let's take another look here, though, at the replay.
Yeah, wanted to go up and actually check where Xmithie was, trying to get some vision, but gives it away pretty easily where he was by popping that little plant. And because he has no flash, there's no way out for Licorice here. The leap was blown early, and they see trying to give it over to Impact, but Xmithie is actually the one going to pick it up.
And it means now, though, that Cloud9 with some pressure on the bottom side of the map, going to go for this Ocean Drake here if they can. That might have been part of the reason they were pushing before. Bubble attempted, not going to happen. As long as the smite is good, they'll be fine. And actually, the Jhin 4th shot going to do what Kalista could have done and knocks that one down. A fairly early Ocean Drake does mean quite a bit for the laning phase. Jensen's going to enjoy even more mana. That said, he's full with the Lost Chapter in a tier, but still, this should be still a positive thing. Having a pre-10-minute Ocean Drake means a lot for the laning phase.
Definitely very nice, especially when your bottom lane is going to be on a little bit of the receiving end of some of the punishment that comes out from this range support. But you have to say, all things considered, bottom lane is evening out quite a lot, and this advantage is not extending here yet from Doublelift and Olleh. And for the C9 duo, they're going to be feeling pretty happy about this as long as they can get out without their turret going down or a big CS deficit.
Especially because, you know, Tahm Kench there with the ultimate now, level 6, it does put a bit more pressure on the rest of the map. Svenskeren on Sejuani, the ultimate is really good at creating plays in this stage of the game. So there's a potential for Cloud9 to try and strike back. That being said, you know, Xmithie's Predator is almost back up, even though he's right next to little Ward buddy.
Yeah, he's trying to cosplay Rengar, but he's not an unseen Predator here in this one, so gets nothing out of it at all.
Yeah, and Sven was actually behind Jensen there, waiting just in case they tried to overcommit. He could have turned that one around, and Smoothie now knows the jig was up, clears out that ward, and he still has his flash, and his Predator is up again. We have to remember he didn't have to blow his flash on either of the top lane ganks he pulled off, and he can look to go for a play here now, but it can be tough to attack a Tahm Kench lane unless you want to target the support himself.
They want to kill him. We'll see what happens. He's got flash and still ignite from this as he's going to be stunned up, and the ulti not going to be committed too much for it. The bubble is all the damage that came through. Doublelift busy last hitting minions under his turret, and that's guaranteed gold instead of the risk for it. More damage onto Licorice, who's soon to be Mega Gnar, but of course health bar. Ooh, and he just lost, that nullifying orb, so more of his tank stats missing.
Definitely not really going the way that they had hoped on the top side of the map. Impact's actually doing a really good job, and it's interesting to see that he's doing it off of a tank, right? The triple ban tanks here from Cloud9. He says, all right, I'll play a carry. He picks the Swain. He's doing very well in this top side so far, and Licorice, the last 2 times that he's actually matched up against Impact certainly got the better of him, you know, being able to impact not only the lane, but moving around the map very, very well.
And this is with Cloud9 throwing 3 of the bans at tanks, and Licorice having the counter pick here into Swain, but you know, having to give up this power pick and still building, you know, the Spirit's Cowl here. He also has the Doran Shield. Very defensive opening. Impact still has a lot of pressure on top side, and this also means Xmithie gonna look for a ward there. Maybe does not find it.
I always like talking a little bit about the builds here from Swain too, because there are some very different schools of thought. Should you be going for a tier? Is that too greedy early on? Because getting the Seraphs in the later stages, once you actually have that stacked up, not only is that extra mana and shield so nice during your ultimate for the actual tankiness, the CDR is very, very important for Swain. And you can see Impact is going for the less greedy build straight to the Rod of Ages. And it's not that he can't go back later and pick up that Seraphs, but for now, he is going more of a conservative build, more power rate off the bat, but he will be kind of weaker later on as a result.
See, of course, we are still on 8.5 despite 8.6 being on live, but now we got a fight in the bottom side as Olleh takes 2 hits in, but not going to be stunned or chomped up, so no problems here. But now Xmithie wanted in the mid lane for Jensen. There's the root cleanse, the flash away. That is one summoner for 2, but the chase forward. Xmithie going to be knocked up, but he's still got the pull coming forward. Rest of the team coming across as well. The trade kill as Sven's going to get the kill into Xmithie, and somehow Jensen is not yet going to die. Still waiting for his life with the shield back on. Finds another kill into Impact, and the body block for Smoothie means a 2-for-0 team fight, and now the curtain call comes in. Looking to knock down Pobelter, gets away for that one. Still a shot on a Doublelift, one more onto Olleh. The disengage comes through. What a fight for Cloud9.
The rotations were so fast there from Cloud9. Smoothie instantly ulting in, Licorice with the TP, and they're able to turn it around.
Yeah, such an advantage there with the Abyssal Voyage coming from bottom side, the early arrival of the duo lane. Look at the top lane minion wave as well. It's kind of pushing there. Cloud9 essentially rotate over for the first turret bonus off of the mid lane and after the fight, though.
Yeah, and they're going to get it here. That's going to be first brick going over to C9. They win the fight. They get the gold off that. And what a big swing in the game.
Absolutely huge play right there. Beautiful stuff out of that Cloud9 squad. They were down 1,000 gold before this, but 2 kills plus the turret meant everything.
And notice Jensen here is going to cleanse immediately and flash away from this Skarner to try and buy time. If you look at the mini-map, the duo is already on the way up, and Svenskeren tries to get in there to peel for him. Barely in time. Smoothie then able to devour and push him out just far enough away from Impact that they don't finish the kill.
Yeah, the shield coming through from Jensen, just barely surviving. And some credit, though, to Xmithie flashing over the Sejuani ultimate to actually connect on the initial gank. But C9's bot lane rotated up so fast with that Abyssal Voyage, and they didn't have the damage in play to kill off Jensen during that Skarner ultimate.
And courtesy of the Tahm Kench Express movement service, that was beautiful stuff out of there. And Cloud9 sitting on a nice 1,200 gold lead can feel pretty nice. And as the blue left goes over the Pobelter, he can try to survive now through this lane where he's missing a turret.
And really a lot of credit to the bottom lane. They're very close to even in farm with the assist gold going over to these guys. They're not really going to be behind. Their turret has not really taken much punishment either. They're quicker on the roam, so they're already kind of getting the payoff on this tank support a bit.
You got to look at the other side, though. From Team Liquid's point of view, they had Impact walk down to this fight. So they do have the teleport advantage for Swain on the top side, and Impact still very threatening in this game. He's got the CS lead as well onto Licorice. And with Pobelter's teleport coming up, you have to still be worried about more plays coming from Team Liquid. Even though that one was turned around, the game definitely has a little bit of a seesaw here in terms of power.
Yeah, and can they actually get back and attack Jensen before his summoners come up? Because that was 2 summoners down there for Jensen, but both teams kind of looking to posture here around the dragon. Neither team really fully willing to commit to it, though.
This opening game here of our first set of playoffs feels fairly calculated, and both the teams taking some measured movements. I mean, there are so many veterans on both sides of this matchup. You got to believe that both of these teams really have their sights set a lot further on into playoffs.
And that's really, when you look at TL, kind of what this team was built for, right? This team was totally revamped with this whole new roster. It's kind of supposed to be this super team. You brought in tons and tons of experience from Immortals and Doublelift and all these guys coming together and creating this team that's supposed to not only succeed in the regular season, they were supposed to be dominating in the regular season and going into playoffs.
Right now, they're going to hope to dominate around this Mountain Drake. Xmithie pops in with Predator, going to look for Smoothie, and Ryze going to bring in some reinforcement. They want it as Popes are on the backside. And they're going to pile drive down. Tahm Kench is going to fall. Over the wall goes Svenskeren. A nice quick double shockwave to buy a bit more space, but that is a greatly played fight out of Team Liquid.
Yeah, those teleports do come in for Team Liquid. Not only are they going to get that kill, but it should give them the space to also take the Mountain Drake afterwards. Impact, having canceled his, will have a bit shorter of a cooldown, and they can return to pushing the lanes afterwards. You know, you talk about the bottom lane there, Olleh and Doublelift, this Caitlyn Nami duo, going to continue to get more and more damage on the bottom lane turret as well.
Definitely looking good after that. Going to be able to drop the Rift Herald and probably just crack this turret straight up because Sneaky is pretty far away, and as a result, C9 is going to try to pressure on the top side and match that. And I do think it was a really nice play from TL overall, but I kind of questioned the TP coming through from Impact because it was pretty delayed. It looked like the fight had been decided. That's going to mean that Licorice's TP will come up first, and C9 will be able to look for an opportunity to kind of punch back.
And at the end of the day, the overall play ends up being an extra kill and that Mountain Drake, which is of course valuable, but as we just saw, those outer turrets were indeed traded, so this game is basically equal, 100 apart. We can watch that fight again.
All right, they're looking for Olleh, just barely missing with that Sejuani ultimate, and had that actually connected and locked down Olleh, he might have been able to just get blown up, and the fight could have looked pretty different, but Xmithie chasing in, finds Smoothie, and he's just going to get completely locked up.
Exactly, because they're able to focus after that, and Cloud9 were split off. 2 went on each side of the jungle path there. They weren't able to defend themselves. Also knowing that there was just even the threat of the teleport coming in from Impact had a lot to do with the retreat of Cloud9 there. Here on the bottom side, though, you can see Smoothie behind Sneaky in lane, waiting just to devour him if there's any sort of aggression, trying to keep this bottom lane a little bit more safe now that there's a lot of Team Liquid vision down on this side of the map.
And speaking of keeping more safe, we expect Quicksilver Sash out of Smoothie probably next up. He's got the No Magic Mantle, and we've seen so many of these defensive tanks rush that item to survive Skarner and make sure that you can't be the target so you can devour the teammates who are.
And I've always really liked this adaptation to going more into cleanse for the spellbook supports. Yes, it's not going to work on the Skarner ultimate, but being able to remove a lot of that CC, especially in these sorts of fights, can end up being more impactful for saving your AD carry than having something like an exhaust.
Yeah, especially on Tahm Kench. It's like buying a Quicksilver on Tahm Kench is buying a Quicksilver for everyone because he's got Devour.
Well, we are back into this game with a 500 gold difference. Split Drakes and otherwise split map control as Sneaky and Smoothie keep the farm up in the bottom side of the map, and we wait for the next major play to happen. 1.5 minutes till this Baron Nashor spawns up. An attempted play out towards Olleh. Pretty good damage. Tidal Wave buys some time. A good stun comes through as a Flash Means it hits Doublelift, who cleanse right back out, and they're going to stay alive, but there's 0 summoners left on Olleh. Still getting shot, and Jensen finds the distance to grab the kill. Just kept throwing ultimates till it worked.
Like Cloud9 making use a lot of their long-range abilities here, getting the pick off onto the duo lane, and not giving up on that chase. Even after Olleh burns his flash as well as the heal, they continue the chase, they finalize the kill, and then they're able to return to the bottom lane here. They actually have a roam from mid lane coming as well.
Yeah, potential 4v2 down here. Teleport is up pretty much for both top lanes. This turret under siege right now.
Yeah, they're looking to just straight up force this down, and I think they may be able to. You can see Pobelter is trying to roam down here to try to match, but the turret is going down very, very quickly.
And
Sneaky reloads.
Also, if you compare that play to the Team Liquid play where Impact did use his teleport and then canceled it, this one was a lot just the threat of Licorice using his teleport, and he never actually pulled the trigger there. That theoretical 5th person joining has a lot to do with the other team backing off in that case. Yet they still hold that teleport. So now top lane is matched.
They also didn't commit any summoners and got 3. They get the turret, they get the kill. So a lot of positive things for C9 in that play. And Black Cleaver being done on Licorice, the fact he has his Cleaver, he has his Cowl, and he has his Merc Treads, that is pretty core components to being able to fight up more heavily against the Swain here and perhaps try to open up more of a 1v1 advantage. And you can see he is starting to get a little bit ahead in the farm.
And look at this interesting stat we have from the regular season on our drop down here. Team Liquid, they didn't win any games where they were in a gold deficit at 20 minutes. Now, they did win some games where they were in a gold deficit before 20 minutes and then made that deficit up before the marker and before that stat is actually taken. So it's a little bit wonky there, but the general point does get across.
Well, and it kind of reminds me actually of an interview that Bjergsen had before their last match against TL in the regular season, where he was talking about TL being fairly inconsistent. They either have these dominant early games and then they could be super competitive, or if they fall behind, his opinion was they're just going to roll over, and that kind of is supported by those stats that we're seeing right here.
Let's see if they do roll over, because right now they're only 1,800 gold behind, and as we all know, that's certainly a deficit that can be made up with proper play, but it's 3-1 in turrets, and Cloud9 have found the better fight so far. Doublelift has been moved to the mid lane, matched by Sneaky here. Respective duos around, but yeah, the farm is just identical across those teams. Both teams have lost the outer turret already, so clearly the laning phase lead has petered out. And I want to talk about overall team fight compositions as a result here, because Xmithie is the only true tank on the team, and building towards Righteous Glory, Skarner is never really as durable as other tank jungles.
And I do think that Swain can kind of act as a pseudo tank, right? You can still be zoning, you still can be controlling space, so it can equate to similar things, but it is going to be tough, I think, in the shared fight side.
Here we go, though. Cloud9 opening up.
And they got some shots onto Olleh on a half HP. Snipes one more time, then a 300H. And now it's the flash away. Is Xmithie going to survive a shockwave? And then his flash is down with a couple of ults burned. Cloud9 gets some more map control.
To answer your point, though, Freak, I really do agree that the playstyle here from the Skarner, you know, building full tank has a righteous glory, yet it's into a team with Tahm Kench, you know, and Quicksilver Sash on that Tahm Kench as well. So it's not like you can go straight for him. The options definitely become more limited, and you start to feel past the early stages of the game to be more and more irrelevant almost, as you can get kind of bursted through. And a lot of this game is hinging on who gets the picks. You know, Cloud9 trying to use that Abyssal Voyage and the Jhin ultimate, whereas Team Liquid now grouping up on the Mountain Drake. They do have the Spire for Xmithie, so he's got some extra power there, though.
They're going to kind of poke back and forth. Teleport for Pobelter going to be joining this fray down to 2,500 HP, and looks like there's not going to be a chance to steal. Sneaky W, not going to be the case this time. A pull on Sven, but he'll stay alive. And a nice little play by Liquid. Oh, the shockwave on the 3. Will there be a follow-through? They're waiting for the flash, and they pulled in one. That's going to be the kill onto Xmithie. The tank is gone, and now will they look for impact? Not just yet. The bubble, too much.
Will they transition up to Baron's side? I mean, both Mountain Drakes were taken by Team Liquid, so C9 didn't get any of them, but they do have the extra man advantage and might want to bait here. There's no smite for Team Liquid available. They would have to try and fight them off the objective.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to straight start it up, and they're going to try to pressure this pretty heavily. If Teal does not come, this Baron will be gone, and if they do, they can turn for the fight, but Teal has spotted it out now with that blue orb.
Cloud9 have one combat ult. It's Sejuani's Tidal Wave coming across. They can finish this down if they don't miss the smite. It shouldn't be too hard. The damage comes in, 400 health, the smite comes through, and Pope can be found out in a curtain call. Does not have an exit route and walks into his own death. 5-2 now for Cloud9.
So decisive there from Cloud9, and they're looking for more with the Abyssal Voyage, trying to chase down Olleh. He does have his flash and will get out.
Distortion for speed not going to be enough, so Cloud9 with Baron on 5 looking to take over the game.
Yeah, recall with this Baron, go on and purchase and be able to get a lot of money out of secondary turrets. Man, once again, just a single member being picked off here after Team Liquid are trying to exit from the Dragon leads to this Baron setup from Cloud9.
Yeah, really nicely done. Tidal Wave engaged, but look at the Sejuani ult over the wall, and then Pobelter stepping up here. C9 do go for the collapse on him. He gets rooted up and locked down, and with no summoners available, no chance for him to get out, but so much credit has to go to Jensen for the initial shockwave that was setting up that previous kill.
Yeah.
As Teal was trying to funnel out of the river, he gets the shockwave that pulls in 3 or 4, then the Mega Gnar comes out, and that leads to a Baron, so brilliant play.
And I have to imagine some part of that was Licorice saying, I'm almost meta, let's take any fight, and Jensen says, okay, sure, I'll let you flash in, and that was some pretty good synergy there. The rookie for Cloud9, the ult that actually secured that pick that got the Baron.
Yeah, not only the play in-game here from Cloud9, their execution has been very good, but also the planning that went into this matchup for them, getting a lot of the answers for what Team Liquid are trying to do. I mean, if they've got the sieging bottom lane and they're trying to, you know, split the map here, they have Ryze up on the other side. You know, Cloud9 drafted a lot of counterplay here as far as their bottom lane, especially with the long range. Here comes the Baron Siege, though, as C9 pushing up mid, and they have Licorice splitting on bottom.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be pretty patient until someone shows on the bottom side or until Licorice kind of comes up and rejoins with this team. But I also have to say, I really do like the purchase of the Executioner's Calling here for Licorice. Just that one item is so powerful in the 1v1, and they're just going to draw multiple members here down on the bottom side, which could allow C9 to kind of push more heavily in the mid lane.
Licorice really is, you know, a guy that deserves more talking about him, because everyone was highlighting, oh yeah, and Impact's such a big difference, you know, in the previous games on the tiebreaker day, as far as his tank play coming through, but they put Licorice back on, you know, Gnar here, trying to split push, trying to keep that advantage in the 1v1s, and now he's the one up in CS. Tremendous lead, you know, playing for the team as well. The Mega Gnar was critical. You mentioned the shockwave, but both of those guys, a very big part of the lead that Cloud9 have been able to build.
And Teal are trying to set up a trap to actually catch C9 rotating around here. We'll see if they commit to the fight, but in the meantime, it's Licorice just knocking on this turret, just slowly punching it down, and it's going to be another turret going the way of C9 and even more of a gold advantage.
Righteous Glory was popping. Xmithie trying to force them to some afraid parts, but not going to happen as the bot lane 2-2 going to fall, and that's a 6,500 gold lead now for Cloud9, that's actually a pretty substantial one. Gold in the pockets. They should be resetting fairly soon. 25 seconds left on the Baron buff.
They have even enough time to actually go topside, because this was a slow-pushed wave that is stacking in the top lane. If they want, they can run straight up there and even try to knock down the last outer, which seems to be the choice here. Maybe a little bit greedy because they have a lot of gold in their pockets, but if they pull it off, that lead gets enormous.
Yeah, I would say since Baron's timing out in 10 more seconds and they won't be able to use it too much on this tower, they shouldn't risk anything. 5 members of Team Liquid are here. Let's see if they actually are able to pull the trigger, though.
Licorice is far, and it's now about to be Mega Gnar, so pretty soon he's not going to be able to fight for anything, and looks like it's going to be just the disengage for Cloud9. They forced Liquid to rotate, and they are going to reset.
Yeah, without the added sieging advantage of the Baron buff, a lot better use here to get out of going back to purchase, because Caitlyn traps are still very difficult to siege around, and you have to be worried about the counterplay here from Team Liquid.
I do like the move, though, because if TL has some bad base timings or kind of wasn't expecting that, you might be able to get an extra turret, so they don't really risk anything. They push up the wave and going to be able to reset. So all in all, C9 is playing this game, I think, very by the book and very, very well.
And they continue to counter any sort of option for Team Liquid coming back. There are 2 more QSSs built here on the frontline members. You know, the backline members aren't even worried because they have Smoothie, the Tahm, Kench to sit in the backline
Is their QSS
and keep them safe. Exactly. So now even Svenskeren and Licorice both on the front line don't even have that risk of the tank being pulled and focused down. So they are really kind of cutting off a lot of Team Liquid's pathways.
And I always think that's kind of one of the risks when you have someone like the Skarner in addition to a Ryze and a Swain, because it makes the item even more efficient, right? If it is the Skarner getting you in a team fight, great, you have the QSS for that. If it's Pobelter answering Licorice in a side lane, well, how do you actually win that 1v1 without locking him down with your W? So it has a lot of use cases across this game, and I think as such, it's just an intelligent and efficient buy.
Good luck finding the opening back into this game then, Team Liquid, because Cloud9 with their extra money has been able to buy items that can stymie what the counterattacks might have been. Licorice very tanky, lots of MR, and all the split pushes deal magic damage against him. Pick control ward for impact, trying to keep building up. Void Step might be next for him, but look at this Ocean Drake, and again, with a 6,000 gold difference, do you even try to stop that? Of course, Liquid's answer is no, and more CD tools will be picked up. I do want to point out that a Baron Rush could be possible. It's double Mountain for Liquid, which means they can kill that real quick, especially on 3-item Caitlyn. So C9 will have to be aware of that in about 85 seconds.
The Caitlyn crits are what could possibly save Team Liquid here. That plus setting up the traps in advance around the Baron to maybe get themselves a little bit of a positioning advantage and try and force Cloud9 into a split decision here. But barring that, it is going to be fairly difficult for them to pull out a well-constructed team fight.
Yeah, it just gets so difficult for Impact and Xmithie to be able to move forward and not just get focused down, because the tanks are so much more beefy on the side of C9, and if you are trying to go in for that engage, you're opening yourself up very heavily to being focused down, bursted down by these carries that have so much gold in their pockets now. You can see the big 3 items are done for Sneaky. You can see 3.5 done for Jensen. Like, these guys are on really powerful points in the game.
Power is all you need to win the game sometimes, and Cloud9 looking to use the power of Baron buff number 2 to win this one out. We'll have another Elemental Drake before Elder spawn. They killed it quickly enough for that. It'll be a before 35-minute Drake spawn. If they need double Elder to close the game, it'll be quite a while away. 70% crit already here for Sneaky, lots of damage on him. 80% though for Doublelift. As you mentioned, Caitlyn crits could be the way they win the team fight. C9, though, using their stats to take river control first. The sweeper out from Smoothie makes sure there are no sneaky wards anywhere that might give Liquid a way in. As traps come down, Jhin's going to be happy to clear the way the mini wave.
Remember, too, that Cloud9 are the team with Abyssal Voyage, with Jhin Ultimate. They have a lot of ways of picking off Team Liquid, so this makes it so difficult for Team Liquid right now to stay in range of Baron to contest this team fight, while also not splitting up, not letting any one member be focused out on the side. So they're making a 5-man push here, which leaves Licorice in the 1-4 on bottom side.
They're going to start Baron because they're not responding to Licorice at all here, and they just have to try to force out at least the teleport, but I don't know if they can take any fight.
Well, they're going to try for this one as the shots come through, looking to get Xmithie down to 1/3 HP. Pops the shield, runs away, and Licorice about to be Mega Gnar, but no easy way into the front line as there's not a lot of easy engage tools left that Cloud9 can use. Sven chunked a bit low. Out they walk, but mid lane priority as Jhin pushes that down.
They do put a stop to the split push, but it was at the cost of half of Smithie's health here, so he's trying to regenerate in the jungle while they buy a little bit of time. Impact does have teleport. He's going to answer the bottom wave, And it's up to Cloud9 now to actually force a move from Team Liquid. Mid lane is pretty open.
And they're going to try Doublelift to go through the base gate. Will they go for shots in the turret? They will not, so back to the river goes Cloud9.
They're just going to do the same play to TL that TL did to them. They start up the Baron now. You could force out a TP from your opponent, and it's just back and forth, trying to force out these global objectives, trying to even things out, and it's complete darkness now for TL. It looks like C9 is looking to bait instead of starting it, and that one kind of sneaky ward on the entrance there is actually what's keeping them safe from having to face check that.
Although sometimes they are in fog of war, but yeah, no shots coming out from C9. The double ocean could have been helpful for the Cloud9 attempts to dance around the map and just regenerate between the pokes, but not going to happen here. TL going to shove it mid, and they've actually got some rights to this outer turret right now, and Double going to put the shots down. Impact's still not here, though. He would have to TP to join. That's 4.5 seconds that he would be late to the party, but no engage yet.
I have to say, Team Liquid played this very well for being in a tough situation. They are able to get themselves out of the split push situation. They still have teleport on Impact. They have bottom lane pushing now and even got some damage onto the mid lane turret. So as well as Cloud9 have set this up, Team Liquid still trying to get themselves back into this game.
Once again, Doublelift some shots onto that turret, and he will knock this one down with another shot.
He's about to go mega.
All right, looking for the flank on the back line. A stun found towards Xmithie. A bit of damage there, but he's going to pull some back in. QSS back out. Headwave grabs 2. Pobelter at half HP. Will there be the re-engage, though? Cloud9 missing their Sedge ult. They still have Shockwave, and they've got control of mid. Doublelift have to respect the ball.
Such good CC coming out there from TL, actually, to deny the Licorice engage. It was a never move into a bubble from Nami, into the Nami ult. All of those CCs is what denied Licorice from looking for that engage, and now Gnar will have timed out. They know that they are baiting, and Swain W so good for actually checking these brushes. TL is just going to be able to just push up mid here and try to force C9 to perhaps respond.
Really nice mid-game moves out of Team Liquid, looking to push this wave yet again, trapped behind them in case of some kind of flank, as C9 must go through their jungle, look for the defense, but that means river control goes back the way of the blue team, and Liquid now get to play for the vision. These control wards going to be dropped off. The Spire goes to Xmithie, and suddenly it's now darkness for Cloud9.
Jensen is in the base right now on Orianna. He's going to have to walk his whole way back here, while both side lanes have been oppositely pushed by minions. And again, the tension continues to rise here in game number 1 of the playoffs.
As he rises, the minions fall. Right now, though, a full item lead for Jensen. He just picked up his Void Staff, and there's only about 2,000 gold in Pope's inventory. This could be a spike that C9 can use for the team fight.
We'll have to see, because Licorice is going to send himself down to the bottom lane. He's going to be clearing up those minions, and that gives TL an opportunity to try to force once more. They have TP advantage, but more importantly, Licorice has no TP, and if he shows, which is actually why they're just giving up these minions, because he doesn't have teleport, they make the call, you don't even get to farm that wave. You just have to let it all die to the turret because you don't have teleport, and they could rush Baron.
It's very interesting that we have the 3rd Mountain Drake coming up in this game as well, only 18 seconds away. But with Baron up and Team Liquid having 2 previous Mountain Drakes, it makes it a little bit difficult for Cloud9 to even grab that one. They would ideally like to get that so they would have more pressure on this Baron objective and actually break the game open. But Team Liquid still threatening up on the top side.
Goldie that was 6,500 has fallen to about 4.5. Liquid have done a very good job past 20 minutes of clawing their way back into this one. Items still scaling up. Zhonya's done for Impact. He can frontline well. Ryze pulls some friends into the back line. Doublelift and Pobelter looking for the play. Is now Smoothie is in a pretty bad spot. They're going to get the pullback. Nice chomp. Brings Sneaky to safety to the flash forward. What a beautiful play on the blast cone. That is Smoothie flatline. 5v4 for Liquid.
Oh, and Team Liquid going to take this opportunity to retreat to Baron. They have control wards set up. Cloud9 going to have to take advantage of any small opening they see.
And there's no QSS on Sneaky. He blew that even though Smoothie ate him away. So Flash Skarner all on Sneaky could spell death.
Doublelift here trying to screen for them.
And look at that with the Jhin ult. Tiana's going to force the team to run away for now. 18 seconds.
Back to Baron,
coming back in.
Smoothie will have Abyssal Voyage when he gets back up, so he should be able to join the team. And Team Liquid very wary of this fact.
Yeah, honestly, I think they're too afraid of Shockwave. The choke point is too small. Jensen held onto that, and the threat of the ultimate large enough to say Liquid can't take the fight.
Another really tense moment there, but TL just get the support kill. Now they're looking for Sneaky. Remember, no QSS.
He's going to flash, and Gnar's going to throw a boomerang, but that's now a summoner down.
And a very important summoner as well. If you remember, back to last week, Team Liquid continually diving Sneaky over and over again. was what got them one of their victories. Now, though, they retreat down to the Mountain Drake, while previously Team Liquid starting up Baron.
Gonna try with side of the team split up right now. Jhin is gonna stay on the Mountain Drake, it looks like, as they're pulling the rest of the team.
Lane, though.
Yeah, the threats were enough. The TP channel comes out there and Licorice on cooldown.
And TL consistently making this play. They start up Baron, very decisive, very confident to get Licorice to blow the global here. And yes, he did cancel it, so he gets some of that cooldown reimbursed, but now they're looking for Pobelter in a side lane, and he got cut out multiple times against TSM this way.
Ulti comes in, it's gonna get him out, a trade of him. Pobelter's cooldown is longer technically, but that is still a tool missing.
Swain's still on bot side. C9's gonna try to force the TP.
All right, and there's the channel on the other side of the wall, though he's not close to the squad. They can see Xmithie, and that channel will complete, so he's there with part of the fight, but that's a full 5-minute cooldown now.
Well, the top tower from Cloud9's side did just go down, so he did have an objective taken. Meanwhile, mid lane minion wave is being pushed up here, and Team Liquid are trying to force Cloud9 to come to them.
They're going to get this turret, but can C9 actually force a fight afterwards? TL needs to kind of navigate this very carefully.
They spend the front line. Licorice forced to kite away from Caitlyn's damage output. Double has Lord Dominic's regards in his inventory. The gold lead now only 2,000.
I'm going to say TL is navigating this so well. They were down 7K and moving around the map so well, so intelligently, never overcommitting. They're back on the Baron again.
Oh, here we go. Caitlyn traps have been set up, and there's Jhin ult.
Curtain call comes in, trying to push them off, hitting Xmithie, losing some HP, down about half. Nice shot comes in, 609 dealt there, and that's before any big armor pen items come through. And Xmithie low on HP. Cloud9 have one mountain. They can kill it pretty fast.
Is it C9's turn to start it up now? I mean, they have positioning. They know Smoothie is low. But instead, it's just about the mid lane control. So much of the access to the Baron has stemmed from that, but look at Smoothie. He's looking to try to threaten a flank around. Sneaky has no flash, but...
Yeah, but all QSSs that matter are up, and of course Smoothie is around the squad. Nice by Xmithie, though. Gonna grab this Scuttle Crab. It's a really big deal in vision, but it means that for 1 minute, cannot be taken away, and TL will see that front of the pit.
This is the biggest Baron tease game I have seen in a long time. Attempt number 2 here. Still bringing so much confrontation. And look at the bottom side minion wave here for Team Liquid.
Oh!
They triple stacked it. Oh, Abyssal!
Damage, Abyssal Voyage into the front, looking for impact. Knocked into the air, a lot of damage comes through, pops the Zonias. A quick chop to bring back the jungler, out they go. Impact at 1k HP and missing an ulti and missing Zonias and missing Flash. He is not able to frontline anymore.
Yeah, that is a lot of cooldowns down on him. That was Pobelter trying to realm warp to get back over to the team, and this has been something that has been kind of picked on a couple times when they played against TSM, but Smoothie is spotted.
He doesn't get the Banshee's Veil off of Jensen.
The bottom lane wave for TL, though, is massive, and it's punching away at that turret. It might just knock the turret down straight up. It looks like it will be a turret kill, and it's going to push forward towards the inhibitor.
And look at the gold. Check the top of the map here as Team Liquid, this last 10 minutes, they have stalled out Cloud9 to great measures here, coming back to even almost.
Nicely navigated. Once again, the mid lane wave gets knocked down. And ready? They're going to go towards Baron. Scuttle Crab despawning, a quick zombie ward to kill, but there's more vision inside that pit they have to get rid of.
Baron's getting tired of their tricks.
All right, it's being hit as the wave reaches the inhibitor turret itself, down to 7k HP. Where is Xmithie going to come in from? He does have flash available, but damage still coming through. Ward over the wall, down to 5,000. Waiting for the jump back and forth. Pope takes a crit, sneaky reloads. 4,000 on Baron, down to about 3. Xmithie over the wall. Licorice, can he stop him? Gets over, chunks him out, but here comes the engage. Double kill Smoothie. The fight goes to Xmithie, and the fight continues well for Liquid. 2 kills already, double. Getting a double for himself. Azonia's pop. Will the shockwave? It comes too early. They can't kill him. Sneaky. He only gets 1, but it's a triple for Doublelift.
He can chase him down. This could be a penta potentially.
And Xmithie looking for a bit more to happen, but it's a 4v2 with Barrett on the team. They can take so much right now.
Oh my goodness. Team Liquid making the comeback here. They win the team fight. Xmithie gets the smite as well, and now they're knocking at Cloud9's doors.
Gotta wait for the minion wave, but there's still huge respawn timers. 18 for Sven and 30 for Sneaky right now. The damage just is not here. Middle inhibitor turret gonna fall. The inhibitor itself pretty likely if they can dodge the shockwave.
I think the inhibitor is gonna be gone. Shockwave's still on cooldown for a little bit. We'll see if TL wants to reset and spend their gold, though they are looking to be a bit hesitant.
They're giving respect, and Sven is alive, so the inhib is actually going to survive. Only a couple turrets picked up. Of course, the gold lead now 2.5k in Liquid's favor. and Baron for 2.5 minutes on 4 of them.
Oh my goodness, let's take another look. They decided they were gonna go for the Smite fight here. You know, Team Liquid, 4 members focused down Smoothie, but Xmithie's got his eyes on the Baron the whole time.
And C9 is not focusing Xmithie, despite the fact that Licorice turned, they stopped damage on the Baron, they CC'd him, but they didn't have the damage because their damage dealers were zoned out.
And Svenskeren actually smited there. That was oh no, he did not, he died. Sejuani went down, no smite went off. That shockwave was a little bit early there for Pobelter coming out of his Zonias. He didn't get, yeah, exactly. That would have been another kill going across.
Either way, Xmithie comes up the hero there, and it is now TL up a couple thousand gold with map pressure because of that Baron. And Elder is going to be coming up with the Baron buff still active too, which is going to give them even more of an advantage in the fight. You have to remember that Baron gives even more AP since a couple patches ago, so with double AP solo laners, that's really strong.
Oh, they found Sven. He jumps back to his team, gets chomped up by Tahm. Kench, runs away. Baron minions shoving in the mid lane. 20 seconds now on the Elder Dragon, and Liquid seem to have control for the next major objective.
All right, it's coming up here. 15 seconds, they've set it up. No vision, as you said here, for Cloud9, so they're gonna have to be the ones face checking this time around. And Doublelift, you can tell, this whole game he's been using this Caitlyn range in the threat range here to keep the Cloud9 tanks at bay.
And Doublelift is on 6 items now off of that fight. He's a full item up on Sneaky. He's already done his build. Sneaky's still sitting on that Doran shield, so definite, a lot of power here in TL's side. Pobelter is on his death cap. Like, these guys are really ready to fight, and C9 is going to have to find a really good engage to be able to take a win.
Just before they get the Spire, that's going to be away from Xmithie for a few more seconds until it cools back down and allows him. But there's traps for Doublelift mean there's no easy run forward. A shield and Licorice blocks most of the damage, but taking some licks, eat some honey fruit, some more wards come back down. Mid lane priority is actually Cloud9's. They could run for the inhibitor if they wanted to, but
I actually really like that from Licorice there. He charges up some of his Gnar bar and then eats back the fruit back up to heal afterwards. Right now, though, split push is going to force it here. They've got Pobelter on the top side, and he can Ryze ultimate.
He's got Realm Orb, exactly. Ghost and Flash as summoner spells with the spell book. Looking at damage on the Elder Dragon. 11k onto that one, cutting back and forth. Double looks for shots to take as Pob is going for the inhibitor. And keep in mind, the Smite fight went Xmithie's way last time. They've gone for the engage as a pressure on the front line. QSS on the walkout. And the redemption to buy a few more seconds. Impact still cutting around. Tidal Wave onto the entire backline, buys even more time as Pob has knocked down the turret already.
Yeah, he got the turret. He's actually going back for the inhibitor there, so they're going to try to just delay and make the Dragon reset. C9 is having their time wasted here as the first inhibitor is going to get knocked down. The minion wave is pushing on the top side here as well for TL, and they are just kind of moving around the map better. C9's got to start this.
Liquid playing a phenomenal endgame here, 44 minutes, and once again committing for it, and they're running up to the rest of the base right now as they're on the Nexus turrets, and suddenly Cloud9 realize they've got to bring Smoothie back in. Impact is here to go for the turrets unless they can get back in. Smoothie brought a teammate, Teleport coming as well. These two don't do the most damage, but they're going to try to knock this down. The flash on the back line, Licorice is here, looking to knock them down. Smoothie going to run out of health. Elder Dragon does not matter as the Nexus falls, and game 1 goes to Team Liquid.
Well, make that stat 1 out of 8 comebacks with a gold deficit at 20 minutes for Team Liquid in the spring split here. Game 1 of playoffs, they take the victory when it counts.
And what an incredible game. If that's a sign of things to come, sign me up for all 5, because that game was amazing.
37,000 damage out of Doublelift, roughly double anyone else in the game. Certainly big damage performance out of him. 4-0-2, highest KP on the squad, only deathless member of his team as well. Certainly a great game out of him. And
what a stall from Team Liquid
absolutely.
there. Yeah.
They got Doublelift onto the items, and they navigated a 6.5 thousand gold deficit, lost exactly 1 champion across like 20 minutes or so, and went to a 4,000 gold lead, winning the game.
Playing the side lanes, just continually trying to burn the teleport away from Cloud9, trying to keep the threat of Baron within a manageable range.
Yeah, I mean, it was so impressive how they played the map, and that speaks to a lot of the experience that is on this TL roster.
Well, a great game. Game 1 for Team Liquid, but to hear more about that win, let's send it down to our State Farm analyst desk.
Woo-hoo-hoo! That was a really good game. The postseason is here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. What a game one between Cloud9 and Team Liquid. Team Liquid coming back from a deficit to get that first victory, a very necessary first victory in terms of continuing that momentum from the end of their regular split into these best of fives. And for Cloud9, losing a game that looked won, that looked winnable.
I mean, I don't want to tie it too much into Academy, but Cloud9 Academy did the exact same thing just yesterday where they had huge leads in Game 1 and Game 3, but ended up losing both of those. So hopefully not the same story this time around. I want to see a couple more games than just 3.
All that said, before the series began today, we were talking about the pedigree of the two coaches, Kane versus Reapert, and Kane very confident that the org had done proper preparation for this best of 5. If we take a look at champion selection, a couple very interesting things kind of panned out here. To kick us off, we're going to take a look at Cloud9's bans in that first phase.
Cloud9, when they were good at the start of the split and winning almost all their games, on red side would triple ban a roll. So we were like, that's really cool that they went back to that because they want to get rid of all of Impact's tanks to hopefully give Licorice a matchup where he can impact the map, and they did that.
And it's really interesting, too, because there's a couple power picks left up, so you think they'll be able to trade them out. So TL grabs Swain first. It feels like that's the highest priority for them, and you think C9 goes Skarner Ryze in response or something like that, but they go Sejuani Ori, which allows TL then to flex the Swain to top and take Ryze as well.
Right, and then the rest of this draft kind of populates. Gnar is still up, otherwise it'll get banned out heavily. Going with the Nami instead of a Taric, and also Team Liquid not going with the Jhin is a little bit different. But what I kind of really wanted to highlight here is Team Liquid got way more power picks than I think most teams will almost ever get. Swain is a flex pick between top and mid lane, and they were still able to pick up the Ryze. But in doing so, had to play a different kind of game.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't have Impact on a top lane tank. They didn't have Olleh on a support initiator. And I think for most of this game, I thought that C9 actually kind of outdrafted them in that sense. Like C9 had a C9 comp that works with Licorice having lane priority and being able to join the team. And TL didn't have those things. They didn't win lanes, and they were from behind without a tank. But then they just ring around the rosy and they won the game.
Well, and to your point, right, that's exactly what happens. The beginnings of this game definitely feel a little bit more C9 favored, while Xmithie is trying to get stuff done in the solo lanes. It's just not quite coming together for him.
Yeah, Xmithie made a couple visits up to the top side. They found a kill onto Licorice, but that had shades of that kind of loss that Team Liquid had to Echo Fox, where they get Impact ahead, but he's not able to actually take over the game. Here, the flash in, the ult early, did not have enough damage to actually kill Jensen there. Might have needed to drain some more HP to get it to max, who knows, but either way, they don't get that kill. That kind of has this cascade effect where eventually C9 gets the first Baron of the game, and we're talking about how this is not a Team Liquid comp. They're not playing around bot lane. Impact's not on the tank and maybe not 100% comfortable on Swain. And then out of nowhere, things start popping off for them.
Yeah, Team Liquid got Caitlyn to 3 and 4 items. C9 was unable to find flanks from Licorice in the late game. Their objective forcing wasn't really quite able to get it here. This was so clutch by Xmithie. They burst out Smoothie before he can get his thick skin out. But then, by the end of it, Xmithie always seems to win these smite fights. He doesn't even get the suppress for the combo there.
Yeah, it was really interesting that both damage dealers for C9 got zoned away, so Xmithie, despite getting locked up, had no one actually hitting him, so he could get that. Doublelift fails his net over the wall, so he has to flash over, unable to quite capitalize. He got over the wall cleanly, maybe get that double kill, but they're doing enough to get the gold lead back. You heard it in the cast, 7K down to about even at this point, all off macro. The amount of times they forced Licorice's TP to then build big bot waves that took turrets on their own, this time finally meeting up with it and then getting a double TP down into the, or excuse me, one TP to the bot lane to sync up and take this turret. And Smoothie, half health, Tahm Kench with an Elder Dragon. You think he stops him? You think he stops him?
Please, please help. I need help on the next
catfish.
Yeah, he doesn't do very much.
No, not a whole lot. So
look at that gold graph.
Team Liquid picking up their first win of the split from a deficit at 20 minutes. So again, huge way to kick off the series.
And the way they did it is very impressive and potentially concerning for a C9 fan, because macro in that sense is hard to fix. Maybe you can look at the Ryze as a 1-3-1 champion that is hard to kind of match, and maybe that's where that extra pressure came from. And TL have been performing on the Ryze, but if not that was strictly better macro from TL.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag of feedback as well, kind of for both teams, because when I did my pre-series prediction of TL 3-2, I'm thinking, okay, TL has a blue side draft advantage. I think they're going to win their blue side games. But then this was not the draft that I thought TL was going to go with. And I don't think, at least early game, the draft favored them in that way. And when we talk about what the traditional strengths of these teams have been throughout the split, C9 has been their macro team who takes a lead and snowballs it to victory. So for them, it's good that they were able to get that lead again, but as Mark said, very worrying that they then lost that 7,000 gold lead against a team that didn't even have good initiation.
Or tanks. You saw Jhin tearing them apart with the fact that he just kept ulting them off Baron 1v5, stopping it. But then they were never able to get anything off that. They always had to go back and deal with minion waves.
C9 with side selection for Game 2 has elected to go to blue side, so there will be at least some sort of switch up, right? Just in terms of the fact that they're drafting on different sides of the rift. But something you may not have catched there, actually, if you're looking at that post-game breakdown, was the damage numbers coming out from these teams. And I thought what was interesting is that primarily the majority of the damage for both teams was coming from the AD carries and no one else, but it speaks to this ring around the rosy style that you're talking about, Jat, where Liquid's like, yeah, 8k damage out of our Ryze, that's fine if he's split pushing and taking turrets.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where you look at like, what a horrible game from Pobelter, and it's like, no, he actually just kind of won them at, and that was just very impressive how they kept getting Licorice just TP out, and even though they had a big CS lead over the Swain, they kept denying CS over and over again. The gold lead kept going down, they started getting turrets.
Yeah, and the 7,000 gold comeback was without Baron being taken and mainly just from having better side lane control. Ryze is probably the best pick in the meta right now for mid to late game side wave control, and I expect Cloud9 to pick that or Team Liquid to ban it away. Team Liquid has had Ryze the last 3 wins against Cloud9.
Yeah, I think C9 had such a specific red side strategy that now that they're moving to blue side, you should see a very different champ select in Game 2. So it's hard to say exactly how much of what we saw here will carry over.
Right, that'll be the question, right? You talked about some of the win conditions for Cloud9 is recognizing whether or not Impact is in form. Well, they attacked Impact in the draft in Game 1. Blue side, we don't know if they're going to go with that same 3 target bans, especially to the top side. Yeah, so again, a concern for them has to be that Impact gets opened up into a more comfortable champion pool, and they're going to be dealing with that on top of kind of this blow that they took here in Game 1. Team Liquid, they took Game 1. Meet us back here after the break to see if C9 can bounce back in Game 2. Don't go anywhere.
Actually, isn't this year the year that Frozen #2 comes out?
Really? Wait, Frozen 2 is a thing?
Yeah, that movie probably made billions, dude. They're gonna make Frozens until the day we die.
Don't flash ult til Skarner.
Yeah, yo.
Charlie flash out.
I'm a Swain. He's ignited. Oh, Swain.
Flash in. Don't flash.
Oh, nice.
Hey, block me.
Nice. And a nice little play by Liquid. Oh, there's shockwave on the 3. Will there be a follow-through? They're waiting for the flash, and they've pulled in 1. That's going to be the kill onto Xmithie. The tank is gone.
Tahm, I one-shot Tahm. I got it.
Jensen. Nice. Hey, bottom big
Go mid.
I'm up.
Jhin, don't die.
Once again, committing for it, and they're running up to the rest of the base right now as they're on the Nexus turrets, and suddenly Cloud9 realize they've got to bring Smoothie back in. Impact is here. Elder Dragon does not matter as the Nexus falls, and Game 1 goes to Team Liquid.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. Since we know the importance of lending a hand, we want to highlight players and plays that help the team bring home the big W. If you have a favorite assist from this week that you want us to highlight, tweet the clip with the hashtag NALCS and the hashtag State Farm Assist, and we may feature it in a future episode. So get out there and bring some support.